from YouTube. Great. Oh, good. Okay, so where am I now? Am I in YouTube or okay? Let me come back to Google Meet. Okay, so I was saying, and this is us just starting the meeting. So I'm going to explore a few thoughts with you. So welcome everybody. I said that there are two lines of thought I like to explore when it comes to the subject of happiness. We always say that your happiness is your responsibility, and so it's important that you find creative ways to turn on your happiness. Creative ways, not destructive ways, because there are people who do destructive things to make themselves happy. So it's important that you find creative ways to always make yourself happy, to not allow your happiness be dependent on anyone. That's so important, right? So one of the things you can do is to sing. You can you can read a book. You can personally talk to yourself, stand in front of a mirror and laugh. You can remember fond memories whenever you feel low. So that's the aspect of happiness is your responsibility. But the other line of thought I always share, especially with married people, is this. Some people go into marriage saying happiness is your responsibility. So they say it to themselves, then they also say it to their spouse. And it's like, hey, guy, I'm not responsible for your happiness. You have to learn how to make yourself happy. Now, that's not a lesson to teach your spouse. I always say there's then no point of getting married if you cannot make your spouse's happiness your responsibility. Did you hear me? Now, I understand the part of saying your happiness is your responsibility, but I said there is no point of getting married if you cannot make the other person's happiness your responsibility. Please, if you can hear me and you can see me, go over to the chat box and say yes so that I can know that I'm being heard and I'm being seen. Let's do that, okay? If you can hear me and you can see me, okay, I can see a wave of hand. And just so that we can be sure what you mean, just type yes in the chat box so that I will know that you can see me and you can hear me. So that's the other side of it. There's no point of getting married if you're going to get into marriage and say to your spouse that their happiness is their business. It's not, it's your concern, it's your responsibility. Yes, it is their responsibility, but it is not for you to drum it into them that it is their responsibility. It's important that you take responsibility for your spouse's happiness, because in marriage you can't afford to be selfish. You can't afford to be thinking about your happiness alone. It's important that you're all okay. Thank you, Isabella. It's important that you take the other person's happiness as something that you work at, you're intentional about. So welcome everybody. That's not our topic for today. I just thought to share that quickly for as a bonus to those of you who come early for class. So welcome Benedicta, welcome AK Janet, Esther, Lee, my dear beloved assistant Ify, and then Isabella, then Esther, then Joy. Welcome everybody. We're going to have a super great time tonight, and I want you to be, you know, to pay rapt attention. Don't let anything distract you. Make sure that what you're listening to is the most important thing happening around you. It's hard in our day to close out all distractions, but make sure that what you're listening to is the most important thing happening around you, okay? Then we are also live on Facebook, so I'll ask my assistant to please remind those on the group that we are live on Facebook so they can join on. Sorry, did I say Facebook? YouTube. We're live on YouTube so they can join our live program on YouTube. For those that are having issues with Google Meet, I like Google Meet because it's quite private, right? So for those that are having issues joining on Google Meet, they can join us on Facebook. So welcome everybody once again. How many of you were in class the last time? 22nd of November. How many of you, if you were in class, just signify by a raise of hand. If you were in class the last time, okay, Janet was in class the last time. Who else was in class? Joy was in class the last time. If you were in class the last time, Benedicta was in class the last time. Awesome. Who else was in class the last time? If you were in class the last time, 22nd of November, Let me see your hand. Esther was in class the last time. Yes, Esther, I recognize your picture. Okay. Anybody else? You were in class the last time. Okay, you all can lower your hands down. If you're seeing me for the very first time, please raise your hand. If you're seeing me for the first time, okay, I can see those on YouTube. If you're seeing me for the very first time, please raise your hand. Juliana is seeing me for the very first time. Okay, welcome, Juliana. Okay. Abigail is seeing me for the very first time. Okay, good. I just want to know where those that I'm talking to this evening so that we are all together. And then in I can see some of you from Ghana are here. So in Ghana it's just 7 p.m. or after 7. Okay, Isabella was in class. Awesome. So I can see some of you from Ghana. Why not go to the chat box and tell me where you're watching from? If you're from Nigeria, tell me what city you're watching from. I just want to know that quickly. Where just go to the chat box, tell me your name and your city. Okay, I can already see your name, so just tell me your city. If you're outside of Nigeria, tell me your country and maybe even the city that you're living in. Okay, so let's hear where we are gathering from today. I'll be going from here to YouTube, here to YouTube. Okay, I'm not seeing you for the first time. I raised my hand for being in class last week. Okay, Juliana. Oh, Juliana, I know you. Okay, Anita Diva is probably here for the first time. Anita is joining from Ghana. Juliana is joining from Ogun State, Nigeria. My people in YouTube are responding, but my people in Google Meet are not responding. I want to see Esther is from Ghana. Oh, Esther, are you from Ghana? I didn't even think so. Okay, so welcome, Esther. Ify is from Jos, Nigeria. Abigail, okay, Isabella is from Tema, Ghana. Abigail is from Ghana. Okay, so welcome everybody to tonight's session. You can see I'm really calm. I'm calm because I want you to get everything I'm saying today. Our classes are sacrosanct. Our classes are important classes. Joy Always from Lagos. Welcome. They are important things to be discussed. And I know that I'm not unaware that some of you are wondering, why am I doing this for free? Why do I give my time? Why do I give my energy? Why do I even do a paid advert on Facebook to, get to meet you people and then offer these for free? I know you're bothered about that, and you're wondering what is the catch. Some of you, of course, not all of you, some of you might be wondering, what's the catch? What does she want from us? Why is she giving all of this for free? I'll give a little background about myself. My name is Benedicta Mbong. I'm a relationships aider. I've been doing this for close to 17 years now, helping people with their relationships. And then officially, I started it and officially got my ministry name and all of that. I started that officially about 8, 9 years ago. And in my journey as a counselor, I know that a lot of people suffer from their relationships, especially women. A lot of women suffer from their relationships. Women are not like men. When a woman has a challenge in her relationship, it tends to show in other things. There are really very few women that can have problems in their relationship, in their marriage, and still be high flyers in life. When a woman has a challenge in her relationship life, her love life, it shows in everything about her life, virtually everything. It shows in her ministry, shows in her work, shows in her parenting, it shows in her looks. And so through the years, my experience with helping people with their relationships has made me very passionate about people who don't know enough to win in their relationships. I tell you that honestly because personally I was single. I was single for a long time. I mean, after I left university, I didn't get married until 12 years later. And so 12, almost 13 years later. So if you're to judge how long I was single, that would be about 13 years, right? And I also experienced the pain of not knowing enough to win in my relationships, the pain of suffering unnecessarily. Of course, now I see it in hindsight that most of the suffering was unnecessary. But thankfully, I began to learn some things that made me a better participator in my relationships towards the end of my single life. And that's how, because I was getting better understanding of how to deal with relationships, that's how it now became shorter, and that's how I eventually got married, because I was now better. I was now a better participator in my relationships. I knew how to handle people better. I knew how to be a better person, a happy place that people can be comfortable around. I learned these things through years. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because you can ride on my shoulders. You can learn from my experience. You may have suffered some mistakes. You may have had some bad experiences like me. But they say that the first law of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. So if there's some knowledge, some understanding, or some experience that can help you do better so you can have different results, would you take advantage of it? I'm sure the answer is yes. And so that's one of the reasons why I do this, and I do it for free. I don't know if I would ask for payment anytime soon or later, but I want you to know that I am glad to do this. I am happy to do this. I'm a woman called by God to do this. Secondly, the calling of God has made me extremely passionate about doing what I am doing. And that's why I still open my lines even after classes for you to ask me questions. I still do counseling calls with you. I have given you my book to read for free. So, and then I'm even giving you, daily goals of how to go about reading the book. Why all of that? Because for me, it's more about the impact. It's more about helping you realize yourself early so that you can get married and get married right. As long as marriage is something you see in your future. If you're reading the book, you would have already read past the part where I talked about the four sets of people, kinds of people. Those who want to get married and won't get married, those who want to get married and will get married, those who don't want to get married and will not get married, and those who don't want to get married and will get married. Those are four sets of people that exist in the world, right? So it's important that you know for yourself and you can find out in your relationship with God if marriage is part of your future. Because sometimes people desire some things that God doesn't want for them. And once you find out that marriage is part of your future, then you want it to happen at God's time. You don't want to be in that position where you're making mistakes, saying no to the right people, saying yes to the wrong people, and then your life is just full of ups and downs and queries and quarrels and, sadness, depression, unfortunate incidences, regrets, lack of fulfillment. You don't want any of that. I can assure you. And I know you also don't want that. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, and around among all these men, who should I marry? And how did we arrive at that topic? We have three topics that we asked everybody to vote from. And by the time people were through voting, this particular topic came second among the options, right? And I think one of you actually suggested that we should take it in that order: number one, number two, number three, right? And so we're taking number two today, which is, of all these men, who should I marry? And I said that this class is for that lady who has several people that are proposing and she doesn't know who to choose from, or that lady that she has two or more men that she's considering and they all have good qualities, but she doesn't know and she can only pick one. And then this is also for the lady who doesn't even have anybody right now but wants to be armed with the right information so that she can make the right decision when the time comes. So who should you marry out of all these men? First of all, and utmost, is marry a good man. Let me say this, I cannot emphasize this enough. Every single one of us, when we marry, We marry a heart. Sisters, did you hear me? When you marry a heart. The heart may be in the body of a tall man or a short man, a rich man or a not so rich man, a fine man or a not so fine man, a fast talker or a slow talker. But all of us marry a heart. We all marry a heart. But guess what? That heart is covered in all these things I just described. A lady says, oh, he has to be tall. Another one says, oh, he has to be dark. Another one says, oh, he has to be rich. But we all marry a heart. And guess what? If Jesus tarries and you live to be 30 with that person, that you live to do 30 years with that person, you will be doing those 30 years with a heart, not their bank account, not the car that they drive, not their nothing else. You'll be doing the years. The days will turn to weeks, that will turn to months, that will turn to years. You'll be doing it with a heart. So why not choose a good heart? That's good advice, right? Why not choose a good heart? Why not look for the heart? A good heart is always possessed by a good man. So I'm going to be giving you a description of who a good man is. Of all these men, who should you marry? The answer is marry a good man. But that's broad, pretty broad. So I'm not going to leave you in the dark wondering who a good man is. I'm going to be telling you who a good man is. So that of all these men, you can begin to look for a good man. Another set of ladies I'm talking to tonight are ladies who, you have various guys that are your friends. And you're generally handling all of them at the same level, giving all of them the same level of attention. But after this class, you will now circle in on one, the good man, and give him more attention. Listen to him more. Spend more time with him. You'll give attention to the good man, right? Awesome. So let's go. Before I talk to you about who a good man is, I'll first talk to you about who a good man is not. If you can still see me and hear me, please go to the chat box and type yes. If you can still see me and hear me, please go to the chat box and type yes. So, who's a good man? I said before I begin to talk about who a good man is, I'm going to tell you who a good man is not. Because many times the challenge is that we have a wrong conception of who a good man is. And so we're looking out for those things and we're calling them the characteristics of a good man. Thank you. Number one, a good man is not a man that's perfect in character. He's not one of those fairy tales of a knight in a shiny armor. He's not a man who shows up and all your problems are gone. That's not the definition of a good man. He's not a man who is perfect in character. So don't look for a man who's perfect in character. I even have news for you. You will not find. Secondly, a good man is not a man that always makes you happy. Now, that's the most selfish thing to expect of any man because he also has his dreams, he has his desires. So he's not a man that always makes you happy. That always makes the butterflies in your belly sing that nice song. That's not who a good man is. Okay? Also, a good man is not the most handsome man of them all. That's not who a good man is. Oh, he's tall, he's dark, he's handsome, he's light skinned. Oh, wow, he meets all my specs for a guy. That's not who a good man is. I'm sure a lot of you already know that that's not who a good man is. As my co-host, if you don't mind, would you please drop a reminder in the WhatsApp group so people can join? Okay. Now that's not who a good man is. So who is a good man? And I'm going to be telling you who a good man is according to what? According to the scriptures. Remember, with Benedicta Umbong, it's always a Christian perspective. It's always a Christian perspective. So I'm going to be showing you who a good man is according to the scriptures. Number one, there are three P's I'm going to be dealing today. A good man is a provider. First Timothy chapter 5 verse 8 says that if any man does not provide for them of his own household, he is worse than an infidel. He has denied the faith. That means God sees a man who does not provide for his household as someone who has recanted, someone who has denied him, someone who has denied his own Christianity. If God takes it that importantly, it means it's an important characteristic of a good man. So a good man is a provider. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he had denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Of all things that could make God call someone an infidel, an unbeliever, even though he goes to church, God picked the attribute of not providing for his household. It means that this trait is a demonstration of a man's faith. It is crucial to his existence and even his eternal destiny. This is a serious matter. This is not the same as having a lot of money, sisters. Now I'm explaining what it means for a man to be a provider. It is not the same as having a lot of money. There are people who have money now, but they are not providers. They have money, but they are not providers. They lack the ability to respond to obvious needs around them. And you need to be watchful to notice it. Sisters, a lot of things you will learn about the guy that you are dating. You will not come to you from what he is saying to you, it will come to you from what you are observing. So, as a lady who is, as a bride to be, as a lady who's at the dating stage, you date with your eyes and your ears and your spirit. You are alert, awake, and alert, sisters. Because most of what you will find and learn from observation, not because of what they said, but because you are paying attention, because you are observant. And this is so aptly important. So many people miss the details when they are dating because they are not paying attention. You go out with a guy and you are more interested in taking selfies. My sisters, the selfies can wait. Who are you trying to report the date to anyway? Maybe me. But how important is that? You go out on a date and you spend all the time seeing a movie, and then that's the end of the date. That's a wasted date. Provider. Is he alive to his responsibilities? I said that a provider is not someone that has a lot of money in the bank account. A provider is not somebody that drives a good car. A provider is someone who is alert and awake to what is his responsibility. He doesn't run away from his responsibility. He doesn't shy away from his responsibility. He takes his responsibility as his responsibility. He does not wish his responsibility away. And you can find out about this from what they say to you over the phone. It's not hidden. You will be able to tell I'm involved with a provider. He's awake to the responsibilities in his house. Somebody reached out to me and said, I don't like the guy I'm dating right now. He has never given me any tangible gift. He has never paid my rent. And I said to her, you really don't have a problem. This person you're involved with, the question you want to ask is he alive to his responsibilities to his own family? Because you people are not married yet. Is he alive to the responsibility in the family that he comes from? When a man is alive to his responsibility, he's a provider. You will hear him talk about a sick mother that he has to send money to, even if he doesn't have the money. A sibling whose school fees he has to pay, even if he doesn't have the money. You will hear it in his prayer points that there are things he needs to do in the kingdom of God, in his community, in his church, in his family. But he's just paying that he doesn't have the money yet and that he's working towards it. You will hear it in his communication, you will hear it in his conversation. You will not be able to miss it. A provider is not missable. A responsible person, like I said, being a provider simply means that you are alive to your responsibility as a man. It's the first characteristic of a good man. A good man is a provider. A good man is a provider. So if you're involved with him, the question is not what is he giving you. I always say, don't ask a man to give you things when you are dating him. Don't even expect it. You're not yet his wife. When we start hearing things about, oh, he's trying to sleep with me, or he wants to sleep with me, and I think I mentioned this in the last class, it is sometimes because the guy is giving you money. He's giving you money, and so in return, he's just expecting something. Life is a value for value exchange. He's not your father, he's not your uncle, he's not your brother, he's just giving you money. And then when it comes to sex and he says he wants to sleep with you, you're angry. Why does he want my body? But you are accepting his money. Sisters, do you know that there are responsibilities for husbands and wives? According to the scripture, it is the husband that provides, it is the wife that submits, including her body. So leave what is for marriage. So if you want to know if a man is a provider, you simply look out for how he treats the present responsibility that he has in his life as a single guy. What is he doing with those responsibilities? If he is responsive to them, because responsibility is simply responsibility. That means he has the ability to respond. If he's responsive to those things, then you have in front of you a provider. He doesn't have to buy you a mansion for you to know he's a provider. He doesn't have to pay your rent for you to know he's a provider. He doesn't have to pay your bills for you to know he's a provider. Is that understood? Now, that's the first characteristic of a good man. I said among the people that you have around you now that are asking you out or that are proposing, which of them should you marry? That's the question we are answering today. Who should I marry of all these men? Number one, marry a provider. Number one, and most importantly, marry a provider. Marry a provider. That's the most important. Number two, marry a protector. No good man will sit idly by and watch harm come to you. God put it in men to be protectors. Where did God bring Eve out from? Did he bring Eve out from Adam's head or Adam's leg? No, he brought Eve from Adam's rib under his hand. So naturally, from the first time God made man a protector of woman. So marry a protector. Because even though God made men protectors, some men were not raised to be protectors. And you will know many times when a man was not raised by a father figure in his life, he doesn't know how to be a protector. So if you're dating a guy who probably was remarried, sorry, who was raised by a single mom whose father died early and there was no father figure in their life, it's easy to know they don't know how to be protectors over women because they didn't have a father figure around them. And conversely, it's also the same, you know, for women as well who were raised without a father. If a woman was not raised by a dad, many times it's hard for her to submit. So you will know when a guy is a protector. He will not sit idly by and watch harm come to you. When a guy is a protector, your problem is his problem. And when you people meet or you people are talking, he wants to solve your problem before you continue with the conversation. He doesn't wait for you to talk about it and then shoves it aside while you continue on to more important things. No, the problem is important to him, so he wants to solve it first, and then you people continue. A good man is a protector. When the Amalekites came and raided Ziklag, the Bible says that David went after them and rescued his wife and children. The Bible says he recovered all. A man who shares your problems with you by being concerned about them as you are is a protector. That's how you know who a protector is. Your problem is his problem. He's concerned. There are people you date who don't want to hear about your problems. I don't know if you can relate. If you've ever met that kind of man, I want you to show with the raise of a hand. They don't want to hear your problem. Please, please, please. I have my own problems. Please keep it to yourself. There are people you date who don't want to hear about your problems. You hear things like, please don't stress me with your issues. I have mine to deal with. Really? God made you a protector as a man. So if you're dating a man who tells you that your problems are your problems, please keep them to yourself. I beg, you cannot come and disturb me with your own problems. I have my own problems to deal with. That is not a protector. And guess what? He may not know that it's a sign. But in marriage, he will do the same thing to you. He's going to keep his problems as his problems and your problems as your problems. It's going to sound as though it's a trouble to him that you're bringing it up with him. A good man is a protector. Every time he rises up to the occasion, a good man will not say that to anyone or you who comes to him for with a problem. He rises to the occasion to protect because he knows you are the weaker vessel. So how do you know a man who is a protector? He's not afraid of your problems. He exhibits a sense of responsibility on matters that concern you, and when hurt comes to you, he stands with you. When hurt comes to you, a protector will stand with you. I once dated a guy who, when I'm trying to share a problem, maybe from the office, a challenge, he will just, wrap it up and tell me, you know what, we can't talk about this today. I have my own problems. And then there'll be times when, maybe I have issues with my cable TV is not working and all of that. And then he will just, I can't deal with that right now. There are things that you want to tell the man in your life that, oh, men usually know these kind of things. Now let me tell him, he will help me deal with it. A good man is a protector, and it's not just you. You would see him rise to the occasion for other people's issues. At the office, you'll hear him have conversations like that with you, where this person's car broke down, I had to help this person fix it. Oh, this person's tire, I had to help her change it. Oh, this person, I had to. You will hear things like that. Sisters, I said, when you date with your eyes, your ears, and your heart, with your spirit. You will hear these kind of things. They will come in different forms. But he's somebody who rises to the occasion to help people solve their problems. He's a protector. Your problem is his problem. He doesn't tell you to keep quiet about your problems because he has his own problems. And that is so important. The third P, a good man, is a priest. Sometimes when we talk about things like this, people think that we are overly spiritual. We're too spirit. Let me help you, sisters. When we talk about among all the men that you should choose a man that is a priest, a man that can pray for you. You will not understand the importance of this until you are married and your child falls ill and your husband cannot lay hands on him or her to pray. Before marriage, we are more concerned with whether he is handsome, what family he is from, what tribe is he generous. Yet in marriage, you need your husband to be a priest. You need your husband to believe in the power of prayer and lead the family as such. The spiritual head of your home, that's who you need a man to be. This also means he seeks the spiritual angle to things before he considers the physical. He's not all about what he can see, what he can feel, what he can hear. No, he considers the spiritual angle of things before he considers them physically. It also means that he is more interested in pleasing God than pleasing you or anyone else. And you can look out for these things while you are dating him. A priestly man is more interested in pleasing God because, first and foremost, he is answerable to God. So you will see him make decisions that are good for God first. That's why it's impossible for it to be the drag of I want to have sex with you before we marry. That's not a priest. A priest does not talk like that. A priest does not think like that. He's not, you have in front of you litmus tests already. He can't be asking you for sex. He's not a priest. And even if that has been happening before you came for this class, it is time after this class to reach out to him and tell him that you people cannot continue like that. And watch out for his reaction. Because a priest can fall, a priest can go in error. Hmm. But until today, both of you in error until today. Now that you're hearing it, the first thing is to call for a conversation around it. The next thing is, if he's refusing to align, you have in front of you someone who is not a priest. He wants to continue having sex with you outside of marriage. And they say a fornicator is an adulterer in training. So you can as well tell what to expect in the marriage. So a good man, the man you should marry among all these men, is a priest. Number one, he's a provider. Number two, he's a protector. Number three, he's a priest. The priest in the Old Testament was God's mouthpiece. 2 Samuel 6 verse 20 says, then David returned to bless his household. When all the pomp and pageantry is over and the music has died down and the butterflies in your belly have stopped flying, you need to be sure you're with a priestly man. I always tell people, I get more turned on by my husband telling me, let us hold hands and pray, than him telling me you look sexy. Mm, it's true. Because we are doing life, and life is spiritual. So I'm more interested in us winning the spiritual battles, because when you win that one, you will win everything else physically, than in us getting excited with pomp and pageantry. Who did pomp and pageantry help in the recent times? So you would notice that in all my examples, I used David as an example. And that is intentional, sisters. It is as an example to describe these qualities so you will know that a good man is not perfect in character. For those of you who know the Bible character called King David, you would realize, you know that he was not a perfect man. So a good man is not a perfect person. He's not a man that has it all together. Most men don't. Actually, no man does. He doesn't have it all together. But at heart, like I said at the beginning, we all marry a heart. Whether it's in a tall package or a slim package or a fat package or a rich package or a broke package, we all marry a heart. So the heart you are choosing is what I'm about today. Are you choosing a provider's heart? Are you choosing a protector's heart? Are you choosing the heart of a priest? That is who you should settle for of all the men that are around you right now. Now, these three are, I said they are the three P's. But above all, sisters, marry a man who loves and fears God. And that is covered in the priestly nature of a man. He's more interested in pleasing God than pleasing you. Now, all of these have covered certain aspects. They are the basic qualities to look out for. But there are also personality differences that you should be conscious of. Because somebody can reach out now and say, there are more than one man in my life who are providers, protectors, and priests. So who should I marry? It is time for you to choose based on your personality. And I'll explain this very quickly. I'm also going to take questions. So I'll explain this very quickly. If you are, we live in a society where there's a tendency for people to want to do what other people are doing unconsciously. So there's a lady you know whose husband shouts a lot. So you think that you can marry somebody who shouts a lot as well. Or a lady whose husband cheats on her. So somehow you're thinking, If Chinasa is okay in her marriage, I don't have anything to worry about. I can also marry somebody who cheats. I mean, this guy has cheated on me severally. He's a serial cheater, and they say that there are no perfect men. So I might as well just settle with this man. It's time for you to look inwards and consider your personality, because that Chinasa married a man who cheats on her and she knows and she's still in the marriage does not mean that you can bear the same thing. That's how a lady marries a guy who she knows cheats. She marries him like that, enters the marriage and kills him for cheating. We know that nobody is perfect. You've heard that, right? In character, everybody has some form of character flaw. When you want to choose a marriage partner, what you need to look out for is that their imperfections are things that you can deal with in the forever after of your life. For instance, you marry a guy that shouts a lot, like you have seen him before you even married. When you go and visit him like this, maybe in his family house, he's like a lion. Can you live with that in your forever after? Because the truth is, there are people who can. There are some people who their dad used to shout a lot, their mother used to shout a lot. So they are used to people shouting at them. Do you understand? Good. So if you are like that, then you can marry somebody who shouts. And you know that this is how I was raised, so I'm used to it. But if you cannot take it, don't say there are no perfect men, so I would manage this one. Ensure that that is not the person you choose to do forever after with. Now I'm talking about you looking inwards, because I said you can see men, more than one man that is a provider, a protector, and a priest. But you need to be the woman who knows how to look inward and ask herself, sincerely, Benedicta, can you take this in the forever of your life? I once almost dated a guy who was, we were colleagues at work. And this is how it happened. I noticed that even though we were trying to be exclusive, he was always with other ladies, always with other ladies. I'll walk into an office and see him with another lady. I'll be on the corridor, I'll see him with another lady. Hear him shouting from the top floor, talking with another lady. And I was like, why? That was the only reason I left that relationship when I found I wasn't going to work. But guess what? He's married today, and I guess happily so. He still has that character trait. So he's probably married to somebody who can take it. And I praise God for her. I'm just not that lady. So when I was going to marry, I was looking inwards. I can't be competing with other people in your life. I am exclusive. I am actually a one man, one wife kind of person. That's the way God raised me. That's the way I was raised. That's the way I think. That's the way I see life. I don't think I should share my husband with somebody else to any degree or to any level. So there are people that are very territorial. So imagine that I kept that aside and I just said to myself, oh, he's a provider, he's a protector, he's a priest. Oh, and guess what? He showed all these characteristics. But look at me, look inside, sisters. That's what I'm saying. Look inside. What is it that your personality does not work with? It will never work with. So you don't go and start frustrating somebody in the marriage. Because guess what? He was real enough to me. He didn't hide that character trait from me. So many of you are dating somebody that is real and open to you. They are showing you their every side, good side, weak side, strong side. They're showing you everything. Then when you're telling yourself that when you get married to them, you will change them. That is one of the evil ways to marry anybody. You have to be willing and ready to accept them for who they are in the long run. The idea that you will enter the marriage and work on this is character, I will work on this is character, that is manipulation. It is even close to witchcraft. I will work on this his character. I will work on this thing about him. I will work on it. You are not entering marriage to work on anything. What you see is what you get. You have to be loving the person for who they are. If they are going to change, it'll have to come from them. Even you as a woman, if you enter marriage with a man that is trying to work on you, work on you, work on you, you'll soon be frustrated. You'll soon feel less. You'll soon be depressed. So don't go into marriage with his imperfections that you know you cannot take for the long run and tell yourself that you will change him when you enter the marriage. It's going to cause your own frustration, and it's going to frustrate the marriage relationship. So after you have met a man who's a good man, who's a provider, a protector, a priest, ask yourself, what about this man is works with my personality? Now, he may not be perfect, but his imperfections are things you can manage. Do you understand? Right? It's important. It's very, very important. Okay, so now is the time when I would like to take a few questions. I'd like to take a few questions. We're in the month of December. So if you want us to have another class, that's the third topic, or you want us to have another class this December, I'll ask you to vote on the WhatsApp group. But for now, does anyone have a question, something you would like me to address? Something you'd like me to address? Go ahead and ask your question, and I will. Let me see my YouTube people. Okay, awesome. Okay, 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 okay. Any questions? Any questions? My YouTube people, I'm here watching you. So do you have any questions? I'll take your questions if you do. Does anyone have a question? Anything you want me to deal with today? Please don't ask me on WhatsApp. Ask me here. I'm not checking my WhatsApp right now. I try to concentrate. That's why I have my co-host handle WhatsApp during the meetings. So does anybody have a question? Anyone with a question? If you have a question, please signify by the raise of a hand. Okay. How many of you are reading the book Single and Fulfilled? If you're reading the book, please signify by a raise of hand or type yes. If you're reading the book that I shared, the book on fulfilling singlehood, if you're reading that book, please raise your hand. If you've started reading, of course, it's quite a big book. So if you've started reading, please raise your hand. Let me know who's reading. Or if you know that even Joy raised her hand, okay, awesome, Joy. Who else is reading? I just want to know who's taking advantage of um, the the free book I provided in the group. Anyone else reading? I'll encourage you to read that book, Single and Fulfilled. Like I said, it's my first book, and it's a book that would help you live a fulfilling life as a single lady. Remember, this month of December is the last month before we enter 2023. And being rightly positioned, I always talk about positioning. Being rightly positioned is so important in your life as a bride to be, as a single lady, being rightly positioned. You see, because it's it's hard to watch when a lady is living her life only wanting to marry, and not enjoying the moments of her life. And that's what Single and Fulfilled will help you do. Enjoy the moments, enjoy every day. Because sometimes being single can be quite hard. It can be lonely, it can be cold, it can be difficult, it can be confusing, uncertain. But what I've put together in that book is to help you position rightly and have the advantage as a single lady. And so it's important that you read that book. Then also, we usually pray on Fridays for 10 p.m. Please take advantage of it. Don't miss the prayer meetings. Don't miss the prayer. It's for just 30 minutes. It's a worthy investment. If if you want to get married in 2023, it's a worthy investment. Sisters, life is all about making deposits. The reason you can go to the bank to withdraw money is because you've made a deposit. The reason you can come out and say, oh, this is what I want out of life, is because you've made a deposit. It's time to make spiritual prayer deposits into not just your getting married, but your future life as a married woman, raising, about children, about your family finances, about your husband. It's such an important time to pray. So don't miss it. Okay, Isabella Fletcher says, what do you do if all the guys who ever asked you out don't have these qualities? Is something wrong with you? That's why they keep choosing you? If the guys that are coming to you don't have these qualities, I encourage you, Isabella, do not settle. If he's not, and I'm sure the reason that you keep, moving from one relationship to the next is because you know that these qualities are important in a future marriage. So it's important that you don't settle. See, I spent a while being single, like most of you already know my story. And it was because I knew that I could not afford to marry a man who did not have these qualities. These are not qualities that I put together. Oh. Remember, we always give our confessions, and I encourage you take those confessions very seriously. We always say that we want to marry a certain kind of man in our confessions because it is according to God's word. I don't want to marry and find out that I married a man that does not live according to the word of God. It's a dangerous kind of man to marry because God's word is the standard. No, now come and tell me something that is better than being a protector, a provider, and a priest. Come and just try to tell me. You've gone to Harvard, you've learned, gone to all the schools for relationship counseling. Come and tell me what is better than being a provider, a protector, and a priest. Then tell me why I should settle for anything that is less. So, like you already asked, and I'm sure you were in my last class, it's not like something is wrong with you, but you want to start positioning yourself rightly spiritually. Last time we talked about rightly positioning yourself for being found, and we talked about spiritual positioning, mental, emotional, and financial positioning. Please go back and watch that video. Positioning yourself rightly is so important for you to attract the right kind of people. It's not just you. I shared my story one time that it looked as if the only people that were attracted to me were married men. So it's possible that at a stage in your life, because of your positioning spiritually, you're attracting a certain kind of people, and you can change it. I didn't marry a married man because I changed position, right? Do you understand? So it's something you can change. It's not a death sentence. Okay. Then somebody also sent me a question and asked, um, she said, what are the qualities that one should, sorry, okay, what are the qualities that a man looks for in a woman? Okay, she says, Mom, please, what are some of the things to look out for in a man before getting married to him? I guess I already answered that. Then she said, Mom, please, what do guys search for in a lady before getting married to her? I can't tell you everything because that's a class on its own. What men look for in a woman before they get married to her. But men actually look for one of the things a man looks out for is financial stability in a woman, especially because of the current economic situation around the world. One of the things a man looks out for is that a woman is financially stable, that a woman has something she does with her hand. Another reason for that is a woman that doesn't have something she does with her hand is an olofofo many times. She puts her mouth in other people's business. So you will leave her here and you will come back and you will not meet her there. So somebody who's focused and busy, men are attracted to women who are focused and busy. Then men are also attracted to women who are God fearing, because one, she'll be a good woman. That means she'll submit, because not because she likes your face, but because she honors the word of God. And then she will raise your children in the way of God. So men, I'm talking about godly men now. Godly men look for women who are God fearing. Of course, they also look for submission and respect, but I always tell men it's a wife that submits. So to know a woman who will submit to you, look out for if she's a respectful person and if she obeys those that have the authority over her life right now. If she obeys their instructions, that's how to know. But this is not a class for us to talk about what men are looking for in a lady. In one of our classes subsequently, I'm going to bring out qualities that a man looks out for in a lady. And these are real things. I told you that I don't know if I said, I don't think I said this in my introduction. I am a certified matchmaker as well. So I have guys who are on my database who are searching to marry. And just like you think women have difficulty finding a wife, finding a husband, men have a lot of difficulty as well. Trust me. A lot of difficulty. They have their fears, trepidations, worries. They have a lot of reason to hold back. They're like, are you sure this will not change my life too much? Most men are not very used to change when they want things to still be able to continue in the way they've always known it. They don't want to get involved with a woman that turns their life upside down as well. They don't want too many surprises. So they are wondering, how far will this woman change my life and turn my life around? So that could be for good, but most men fear that it could be for evil as well. So men are worried, men are concerned, and they have that issue. So one of the things that I said I was going to announce this evening was, please take the confessions seriously. So I said I was going to announce this. If you're currently dating to marry, I'd like to guide you. So who is dating? A person who is dating is someone who is in the talking stage with a guy, but not totally clear on exclusivity yet. That means you people are in talking terms, you're friends, you're getting to know each other, right? So if you are at this stage, you're in the dating stage, you're dating to marry, reach out to me privately on WhatsApp. I'd like to guide you. Isabella is also asking, please, what causes men to be emotionally unavailable even when they ask you out? Emotionally unavailable, that means they are, what's that word now? They are unaffectionate. They just are unattached, unaffectionate. Some men are doing it intentionally when he's unattached. I just mentioned that some men have a lot of fears themselves. Many men do it intentionally. They don't want you to think that they are all over you. So they act strong, they act unattached, they act unaffectionate with you when they're out on a date with you. It's intentional just so that you don't feel like they're chasing you or they're all over you or they really want you. What I'd advise you to do is respond in the same way as they are giving it to you, that they are unaffectionate, be unaffectionate as well. Now, being unaffectionate does not mean be uncaring. Affection is the holding of hands, at the table, the bringing out your seat so you can sit, the opening the car door so you can enter. All of that is affection. But be as be caring, but be also unaffectionate. That means don't show your emotions. Women, we are good at covering our emotions, and you can do that very well. So seal your emotions to the extent that he is unemotional with you, but be caring. Check on him. How you doing? Hope you had a good day. Be caring. Be courteous. Don't become rude because you want to be unaffectionate. Be courteous, but give the unaffectionate response to his unaffectionateness. Just give the same response. Don't be overly emotional. That has to come from him. I remember my brother reached out to me when I was about to get married to my husband. He said, we are men and we prefer to be the ones showing more love. We are supposed to show more love. Don't show him more love than he's showing you. Women don't know how to draw that line, and guess what? It's for your own dignity, it's for your own respect. No matter how much you are excited about the relationship, don't show more affection than the person is showing. Let it be give and take. Let it be something that, call and response. So as he gives, you give. As he gives, you give. Don't give and then let him give back. Men like to be at the head of the table. Remember, they like to be at the driver's wheel. So if they see that you are the one giving and so they are responding to you, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to always be the one initiating, and then he will be responding. You will soon get tired if you do that. So let him be the one initiating while you are responding. So if he's unaffectionate or he's unavailable emotionally, it's simply it, my simple counsel to you is do the same thing back, but be caring, be courteous, be kind. Doesn't mean you should be rude at all. Okay, if there are no other questions, we're already 1 hour into this class, so we've done good time. Does anybody else have a question? Our next meeting will be together on Friday by 10 p.m. at our prayer meeting. I urge you not to miss it, okay? If you've gotten value from tonight's meeting, why not go to the chat box? Don't say you've gotten value, just type one thing that you learned. And I'll be glad to know that at least I passed something from myself to you. Something that you learned. Drop something you learned in the chat box, okay? Okay. What did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn? What did you learn? If you learned something, just let me know what you learned. If you learned something, let me know what you learned. Okay. All of you are quiet, or is somebody trying to type something? What did you learn? That would be beautiful to know. Like I said, our next meeting is on Friday by 10 p.m. Nigerian time. Okay. So that'll be 9 p.m. in Ghana. So 10 p.m. Nigerian time. Benita learns the 3 P's. Yes, very easy to remember: protector, provider, protector, and priest. Very easy to remember. So you can do your litmus test, right? Awesome. You can do your litmus test anytime you're dating someone new, and you can tell. And then, of course, to remember to date with your eyes open, your ears open, and your heart sensitive in the spirit. All right, ladies, thank you for being out here tonight. This has been a beautiful class, and I believe you all have received a lot of value from being in class today. The next time, awesome. Thank you. My co host said, I learned a good man is a protector. Thank you. Awesome. So, a provider and a priest. Yes. Okay. So, we're going to be getting back. Now, when you go back to the WhatsApp group, I want you to type out what you learned. Type out what you learned. Type out what you learned. Encourage others who were not in the session so they can also learn a few things from what you learned. I said a lot of things in between being protector, provider, and priest. So type out what you learned and let them know as being the value of being in class live. Okay. Benita says respond the way they treat you. Yes. Of course, Jesus said, love those that hate you. So I'm not asking you to go and do tit for tat. It's not a tit for tat thing, but I'm talking about in terms of be showing affection at the dating stage. Okay, at showing affection at the dating stage, you have to let the man be the initiator and you the responder. That's how God made us. Men initiate, women respond. Don't be the one who's initiating, no matter how tempted you are to initiate. Don't initiate. Let him initiate. Give him the room to initiate. Until he initiates, don't initiate. Until he initiates, let nothing be done. Okay. So it's not a matter of tit for tat. I'll do as you do me. No, no, no. That's not it. It is in terms of affection. Allow him be the initiator and you be the responder. All right, ladies. Like I said, we're going to be doing this again in this month of December because we usually have 2 classes in a month. So, but we're going to let you know. We're going to let you know when that is. Okay, we're going to let you know when that is in in the WhatsApp group, and then you can join when that is that when that is concluded. So I want to be sure that nobody else has a question. Just a second. I learned not to be ahead in the relationship. Men like to lead. Exactly. Okay. So we're ending the YouTube stream right away.